going on? How's everyone doing?
Shout out to Colin. Everybody else who's cool with Colin.
Chunky! I didn't say.
Get your popcorn and your Coca-Cola and relax.
Anyway, tell Colin I'm ready.
What's going on? This is Colin. How's everybody doing? I hope you're having a great day so far. I've got a good one. I've got a wild one. Let's call it that. This is not a case I normally cover. Usually I cover subsits, Karens, proses. This one's scary. What this couple allegedly attempted to do, they tried to poison some people. Yeah, they tried to, you know what? I don't really want to spoil it too much, but hazmat units were called out. People in hazmat suits, the FBI, the National Guard were called out for the level of crime these two are alleged to have done. And it's going to blow your mind. I didn't think people like this existed. I mean, these are villains, allegedly. Okay, let's go. Before I hit that play button, you know what to do. Hit the like and subscribe. Do your jump kick backflip. Let's go.
Next up will be Andrea Whitaker, down here. Ms. Whitaker. It's the end of the order.
Court call 25 GF 37027, group file for a bail hearing for Andrea Whitaker. Appearances.
William Brown, state of Wisconsin.
Attorney Stan Whitaker, Quick Defendant's office, here I have Ms. Whitaker. The information I've got from our office, Your Honor, is that's the initial sheet that indicates.
Do you have a probable cause statement?
No, no.
We'll get one printed out and provided to you.
Your Honor, thank you for giving me this opportunity. I am now prepared to proceed.
We are here for a bail hearing. Counsel.
Sure. Right now, as I understand it, correct me if I'm wrong, PC affidavit is for one count of harboring a felon.
Correct.
I'm going to give you a little bit more information because I think none of my bail requests are going to make sense without it. So you have to indulge me for a second. Over the past couple of months, a month or so now, the Middleton Police and the Rock County Sheriff's Department, along with the Janesville Police Department, have been investigating a series of somewhat bizarre incidents that kind of bring us to today, and are going to bring us to another hearing Friday here in Dane County Circuit Court. I know the court may be aware of these incidents in Madison going on where there's hazmat units everywhere, and that's what I'm going to talk to you a little bit about today. Starting in Middleton last month, a woman reported that she came out of Costco and noticed that there were people standing around her car, indicating that her car had been broken into. She checked her car out, nothing was missing. But noticed that there was a water bottle that she kept in the car, that when she took a sip of it, it tasted terrible. She spit out the water. A couple weeks later, she's at Costco again. She comes out and the same incident repeats itself. People say, hey, someone was breaking into your car. She takes a drink of the water. She smells it. And that time she calls the police. At that point, the police were able to tie the break-ins of her car to a gentleman that's named Paul Van Dyne, D-U-Y-N-E. He's set for bail here on Friday. He's booked in now on multiple counts of attempted homicide. He's booked in on multiple counts of attempted homicide because ultimately that water bottle was taken to the crime lab and it was learned that there was cyanide placed in that water bottle. In the instance that's going on in Rock County, they had a woman who was reporting somewhat of the same situation. She reported going to the gym, taking a drink of a water bottle and having a funny taste, and also getting in her car and there being a powdery substance. The victim in Rock County was actually hospitalized with various forms of poisoning. It turned out that she was exposed to cyanide and thallium. Ultimately, the link between those two women are, for a very brief period of time, both of them dated this man, Paul Van Dyne. We were able to tie Mr. Van Dyne to locations, both by license plate on his vehicle at Costco, as well as various tracking that we did of him, which ultimately actually led us to the Janesville victim's house, in which he was driving at one point last week, which is why an arrest was made on Sunday. This case was under investigation. There was no attempt at that point to want to conduct all the search warrants this week, given what was still left to do. How Mr. Van Dyne essentially forced everyone's hand by showing up at 11 p.m. on Sunday at the victim's house in Brown County. The police made an arrest at that point. So he's booked in here in jail, and on Sunday, and he starts making phone calls. One of the first phone calls is to the defendant in this case, in which she instructs her that he'd been booked in on stalking charges, which he was at the time, and tells her to take various things out of the house, including a computer, a box, and other items. DCI agents were actually standing by at the house and found this defendant taking those items out of the house, obviously in an attempt to conceal the crime. Those items that she was carrying are very likely poisons that were involved in this case. This defendant's phone was seized, and I can tell you that the search history and the chat messages between her and Mr. Van Dyne are extraordinarily concerning. There is detailed discussion on obtaining different poisons, how to make them. It's believed that this defendant has an academic background in pharmacology, knows how to do those things. I can't tell you sitting here today what the exact motive is, but it does appear that both of these women are simply connected to Mr. Van Dyne, having dated him only briefly, some of them 2 years ago, and one of them only on 2 dates. It does appear that this defendant, Mr. Van Dyne, have started dating and apparently created this plot to kill his ex-girlfriends by poisoning them with cyanide, Valium, and other poisons. So over the last couple of days in Madison, the police have attempted to conduct search warrants related to this case. Those search warrants have been extremely slow going. We have had to call in the National Guard, the FBI, units from other states had to come in. 7 DCI agents at one point have been hospitalized due to the exposure of some of the agents that they found in these cases. This investigation has taken quite some time because of all the different items found. It does appear that this defendant, Mr. Van Dyne, are likely co-actors in this. I don't know who's more responsible, less responsible at this point, but I can certainly say the charge that she's sitting on right now is very unlikely to be the charge that ultimately she will face. It does appear that she'll be party to essentially all of his crimes, both here and in Rock County. So right now, I know she is only booked in on that Harvard case, but I need you to understand that this is a much more complex scenario than you would usually see in someone booked in simply on harboring. It does appear that even though she was harboring in an attempt to hide this evidence, she is much more of an actor than we would usually see. So a couple of things I'm going to ask for. One, I'm going to ask for that an initial appearance be scheduled at the next initial appearance date, which would be Friday, because tomorrow's a holiday. The co-defendant, her ultimate co-defendant, is scheduled for that day, so ultimately you'd be able to charge them both in the same criminal complaint, and I think that would be efficient for everyone. I would ask for $1 million cash bail to be set in the intervening time, that she be ordered to have a GPS unit affixed to her ankle if she's to be released, that she only be released during business hours, non-holidays, so that that can be on her ankle before she's released from jail. I ask that she find somewhere to stay if she is released, and that she be confined to her home with a curfew of 7 p.m. to 7 a.m. I ask that she surrender her passport and provide an affidavit indicating she doesn't possess one. I ask that there be no contact with Paul Van Dyne, D-U-Y-N-E. I ask that there be no contact with victim, initials KWP. Now, send Mr. Woodard the victim key after this hearing. And then I'm going to ask for quite a few address bands. All of these address bands are either locations in which suspected victims live, or where the Madison Police, DCI, Middleton Police, the FBI are going to be conducting searches related to possible poisonous substances.
You said no contact with KWP. Was there a second person for no contact with?
For the second victim, I'm simply going to ask that she be banned from Rock County in altogether. And when ultimately I suspect Rock County will be charged in this case eventually in the coming days, they can create their own bail conditions, but I see no reason for there to be in Rock County. So one of my address bans is simply for Rock. The second one is I would ask that she be banned from the entirety of the following streets in Madison: Fairway Drive, Deerholt Drive, that's D-E-A-R-H-O-L-T, Millward Drive, M-I-L-W-A-R-D, all of North Spooner Street, all of West Skyline Drive, the 5600 block of Schrader Road, in the 2300 block of Crossroads Drive. All of those are in Madison.
What was the last one? Crossroads?
Crossroads Drive.
What's the first part? 2300?
2300, yes. One of those addresses is an apartment that is hers. That will not be a location that she can go back to anytime soon. It is being searched, and the substances, again, that are being found in these various locations have made this quite slow and meticulous as they've gone about this. I understand I'm asking a high amount of cash bail for someone on the bail hearing, but I would like to point out a couple of unique facts here. Some of them I've already mentioned. This defendant and Mr. Van Duyn have done several things that have slowed this investigation, including Mr. Van Duyn at one point making a false report that his license plates were stolen to try to throw the police off track in his vehicle. This defendant herself was actively caught hiding evidence by the police, and multiple agents who would be responsible for sending reports to the DA's office to get this case charged were hospitalized essentially the entirety of yesterday for being exposed to some of these poisons. That is all things that are outside the control of, I guess, anyone here, but also outside the norm in any case in which we can get to a bail hearing like this with a complaint within the 48 or 72 hours. So I'm asking for a slight delay, essentially 1 business day, extremely high cash bail, with the understanding that this investigation is likely not to end with these charges that she's currently facing. She will likely face significantly more serious and significantly more charges in number by the end of this, but also that the evidence of her willingness to flee or obstruct the investigation is quite clear, given that she was literally caught trying to destroy evidence in this case already just a couple of days ago. Thank you.
Jay Woodard.
All right, I didn't want to pause it during that so you can grasp everything that he just said. That is wild. Like I said, I didn't think people like this existed. Well, I mean, I guess I know that they do. It just, they're villains. And for what? He just said that one of the ex-girlfriends he hasn't seen in 2 years, and they only went on a couple dates? Man. Oh, but all she's charged with right now is harboring a felon. She's not charged with anything. They put all the charges on him. $1 million bond on that. They should have brought more charges for that. And you're about to find out why. Let's go.
Thank you. This is a complicated situation. In regards to Ms. Whitaker, however, whether or not she's involved in this or not, I don't necessarily see a foundation that she was involved in it. She's asked to take something out of her house, and she does it. Whether or not she knew all of the situations regarding why she should do that is another matter. And I don't know what information the state has today regarding that, other than what they think she was doing, what they believe she might have been doing, but there is no verification or no information, there's no complaint, there's no charges. It's just that what we think we're going to be able to find. Now, I say that respectfully, but the point of the matter is this young lady now has been in court since, been in jail since Monday, and now she's in a situation where she has to wait till Friday to see what, if any, charges are going to be issued against her. I'm sure there may be some. I would say it in that way. In light of that, Your Honor,
It's not where it was at. It's where I live. I live in
all right. Ms. Whitaker's address that we have is 5602 Madison 53711. I did not hear, and I may be wrong on that, but I'm sure the DA will let me know that this address was not an address that was used to be searched.
It was listed as a block, 5600 block of Trader Road, as a banned area.
And I can represent, there's an active search warrant that's being executed.
It's like parking. And do they need to?
The apartment?
What are you saying in the town?
Miss Whitaker does have two cats that are in the home. I don't know if the state is taking account of that and making sure that maybe to take them to a center or someplace for them to be. I don't know if you did that or not. But she's concerned about the two cats in the home that's being searched. Number two, Your Honor, in light of this, she will stay here. She will get a hotel to stay in if she's allowed to do the leave. So in light of this situation, we have a lot of information here that the state has said, and no disrespect to the state, but we got to find out where she really fits in. Knowing someone and at the same time helping them, dealing with what they're doing, knowing what they're doing is wrong, and dealing with them still, we don't know about that. We just know she knows this guy. He asked her to do something, she did. Other than that, we don't know what more she's been involved in to show that she has a relationship trying to do the things allegedly that the defendant has done, the main person has done. So we're asking for a signature line and she will be back here on Monday. Excuse me, on Friday.
I can respond to some of that if you want me to.
Counselor?
Sure. As to the animals, I certainly am not going to any of these crime scenes, given what's going on. The police are passionately, I'm sure they're doing something to make sure everyone's safe. But these hearings are awkward in that I am the only one, I suppose, that has a lot of information. It's not, these are very difficult hearings for the defense. So I'm not, I will just say this, that the defendant's involvement in this case is quite obvious. It ends up being quite obvious from the phone searches. Just to give you a preview of some of her phone searches that were found in the preview of her cell phone download just today. These were recent searches: potassium cyanide inhalation, potassium cyanide cloud water, sodium cyanide odor, sodium cyanide. Over and over again, she's searching different types of poisons. What does cyanide look like? Cyanide lethal dose. Does potassium cyanide powder go bad? Over and over again. These messages are in the same general time period in which she's communicating with Mr. Van Doon about this very act. And so while it does appear that Mr. Van Doon was perhaps the actual person who was entering both victims' vehicles and putting the cyanide in their water bottles, and at least in Rock County, putting cyanide powder in the air vents, I think this defendant's involvement is absolutely clear, and that she is likely the brains of the operation and actually figuring out how to do this. It's an evolving case. I don't mean to sit here and indicate the defense should be aware of any of this at this stage, and that isn't fair. But it needs to be the case that you have accurate information. This is not a situation in which we have someone who's just a girlfriend of someone who does something bad and they call them and say, "Hey, help me out." That case happens every week in Wayne County. We see that case every week in Wayne County. Someone commits a crime and calls their girlfriend and says, "Help me out." This is beyond that. I can't remember in my career seeing a situation where the risk of the public is so great, but also the evidence seems to be so documented and clear of what the plan was, in which these two women have almost lost their lives. So we're not speculating. I'm not in here asking for $1 million bail because I think we might charge this person with attempted homicide in a couple days. I think that's very clear. That's what's going to happen.
Looking at the face of the PC form, it's a lot different than the story that's been given here today. There's clearly much more out there that the state has proffered as officials from the court. I take everything that's been represented as information that is necessary for this bail hearing today. Given the ties that seem clear from the searches that have occurred on the cell phone, the conduct alleged by the defendant at direction of who has been booked in on PC on attempt homicide charges, there is a direct correlation and tie. The severity of the potential charges, again, is almost the utmost and highest severity there can be without actual death. She is not charged with that yet, but it appears that in all likelihood, the attempt homicide as a co-conspirator or co-counsel seems, or co-defendant seems likely. Given all of that, I do believe high cash bail at this point is necessary, and the quickest return date, which is going to be Friday, given the county holiday tomorrow. So I will set cash bail in the amount of $750,000. I will order that you be outfitted with any GPS prior to release. I will order that you surrender any passport that you may have. You will have no contact with Paul Van Dyne. You will have no contact with KWP. You are banned from Rock County. You are banned from the following Madison streets: Fairway Drive, Deerholt Drive, Millward Drive, North Spooner Street, West Skyline Drive, the 5600 block of Schrader Road, and the 2300 Crossroads Drive. We'll have a return date for an initial appearance on Friday afternoon. If you're still in custody, if you are released, it'll get set for a different hearing date at that point. Anything I missed, Counselor? No. Anything, Attorney Whitaker?
No, Your Honor.
We are adjourned in Ms. Whitaker's case.
Ms. Whitaker.
We're not gonna.
All right. First off, my comment about he should have brought more charges, you're about to see why. I have $50,000 as a bail written down, so I did not hear the 700 part when I was originally listening to this case. That changes things. So I was thinking, wow, she only got 50,000. No, 750. Okay. The judge dropped it a little bit from the 1 million that was being asked, but I tell you, I don't really have anything to say. Wow, I let most of this video play. I didn't really have anything to add. Yeah. Also, sorry about the second watermark. I'm not taking my time, apparently. I wrote down 50,000, and I was trying to figure out if I wanted my watermark over the attorneys or over the judge. So it was harder to edit out, but apparently I didn't delete the one next to the judge. Anyways, I apologize for that. That's my mistake. Anyways, you guys have a great rest of your day. I hope you like this. If you like this kind of videos, let me know. I usually stay away from them. I like I said, sovereign citizen, pro se Karens, those kind of things. Yeah, I don't. I'm terrible at commenting on serious cases, it seems, because I don't have any words. You guys have a great day. Hit that like button. I would appreciate it. Until next time, bye.
I do the curfew. He requested them.
Do you need any set up season?
No, I've got all of those.
Started.
Thank you. It'll be just a minute.